Shannon, a little more smoothly today than yesterday, certainly. In fact, a few things still going on. The canvassing board meeting off in a room to my left, going over ballots, and then behind me, the hand recount process in the race for Senate finally winding down with these few tables. Right now, election staff and political observers from both parties going over 6,000 ballots today where voter intent seems to be in question. Now, we are talking again about the over and under ballots. Under ballots meaning that the choice in the Senate race was not very clear, and over where more than one candidate was chosen. These are the only ballots that get looked at by hand in this recount today, and this is really where the last battle to gain votes is at. So these observers are trained by a team of election lawyers here on what to look for and how to raise objections. They are looking for certain marks or circles, a name, even a partial name written on a ballot. And for the most part, one election attorney here tells me things are going pretty smoothly. These ballots really not filled out that badly or hard to interpret. He does expect the tally from this recount today to tilt about 60-40 towards Democrat Senator Bill Nelson, just because of the political makeup of Palm Beach County. And after they recount the Senate today, they're not done. Election staff be back here tomorrow at 8 a.m. to do a recount in that very tight Florida State House race, District 89 in southern Palm Beach County, where just 37 votes separate both candidates. We're live in Riviera Beach. Matt Cesny for The Now, South Florida.
Matt, thank you. St. Lucie and Indian River counties started their recounts at 8:30 this morning. Martin County started at 9 o'clock. Okeechobee County began at 9:30. Broward's machine recount apparently will not count, at least for now. The county said it did finish early, but the ballots were sent back to Tallahassee 2 minutes late. The state says that means it will now use the results from last week as its official Broward vote total. With all the votes counted in the governor's race, meanwhile, Ron DeSantis holds a lead over Tallahassee Mayor Andrew Gillum. So far, Gillum has not conceded since the recount began, that is. The final results, though, are expected to be certified by the state on Tuesday.
The deadly winter storm blamed for at least 9 deaths in the Northeast is wrapping up today. You just take a look at these snow totals right here. Some breaking records for how early this storm was. Yeah, you can see that there is a lot of cleanup happening today in that part of the country, down branches in New York. And the Now's Kamasi Aaron following this for us.
Deadly crashes, hundreds of thousands without power. Whether it's snow, ice, or both, this winter weather is hitting parts of the Northeast hard.
We went without power since last night. The storm came in about midnight. I've been sort of going up and down the road making sure the neighbors is okay.
This is what it looked like on Thursday on New York's George Washington Bridge. Traffic at a standstill, roads and cars covered in snow. Hundreds of flights canceled.
I'd rather be in Florida right now.
Snowy roadways made driving difficult, dangerous, and in some cases deadly. And from Kentucky to Maine, more than 420,000 people in 15 states were without power Friday morning. Yet, in the midst of so much chaos, a moment of kindness.
I'd love to figure out who he was.
A woman in Washington, D.C. captured this video on her doorbell camera of a man returning her wallet she dropped on a snowy street.
There's so much negativity that we always see these days, and especially the last couple weeks, I think it's been really rough on people. So I was really happy just to share something really positive.
Making it through the first significant snow and ice of the season. For The Now, I'm Kamasi Aaron.
Now on to new information this afternoon on a story you saw first here on The Now, South Florida. The Occupational Safety Health Administration now investigating after an employee was bitten on the leg by an alligator just 1 week ago. According to our news partners at the Palm Beach Post, this man was working for Perot Family Farms in suburban Delray Beach. The victim is expected to be okay. It's following the attack, or apparently after the attack, FWC removed the nearly 10-foot-long gator from that farm. A heads up as you make your Thanksgiving travel plans, President Trump could be spending the holiday here in South Florida. FAA airspace restrictions do show that he may be at Mar-a-Lago from Tuesday until the Monday after Thanksgiving. Meanwhile, Palm Beach County Sheriff Rick Bradshaw says the price to protect President Trump and his family while they're in town amounts to more than $5.5 million. That's just between last October through April of this year, and it does not include upcoming visits for the holiday season. According to our news partners at the Palm Beach Post today, Bradshaw said his staff and deputies worked more than 65,000 hours to ensure the first family's safety. PBSO has applied for reimbursement from FEMA, stating it is, quote, honored to work with the U.S. Secret Service, but its budget cannot sustain these additional costs without compromising the general public's safety. All new at 4 today. You soon won't be referring to them as Brightline trains anymore. The company announced it has formed a new partnership and a trademark agreement with the Virgin Group. The agreement means Brightline will rename itself Virgin Trains USA, and that's going to happen this month. The trains operate in Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade counties, and they are considering a stop on the Treasure Coast as well. It also has plans to expand into Orlando and Tampa.
Well, listen to this starting off the Now newsfeed. Thousands of Marine Corps and Navy veterans are allowed to sue the government. The veterans of Iraq and Afghanistan with PTSD were denied VA benefits. Federal judge in Connecticut giving them a green light today. The White House was wrong and a judge said so. Today, a court ruled that the White House must immediately give CNN's Jim Acosta his press credentials back. They took those credentials after saying that Acosta acted inappropriately at a news conference. Well, Hollywood legend has passed. William Goldman wrote Butch Cassidy as well as All the President's Men and passed away at the age of 87 years old. How universities handle sexual misconduct complaints could soon be changing. New today, the Education Secretary is proposing adding protections for students accused of assault and harassment. Now, they would be presumed innocent through the discipline process, and they could review all of the evidence that the school collects. The Education Secretary says current rules pressure schools to take strong action against students who are accused of misconduct. Now, under the new rules, schools would also only be required to investigate complaints if they happened on campus or in areas that the school oversees, if the complaint is reported to a campus leader who has the authority to take action. All right, we do still have a lot more to talk about in our lineup this afternoon. Let's get right to it here, and it's an idea that's going around that could help prevent school shootings. Hire retired police officers to work in maybe the office or the cafeteria. We are diving into that idea. And Facebook might be working on some new tools to better analyze our pictures, and it's to learn more about our family dynamics. Kind of creepy. We're going to be getting into that one as well. And in our lineup, we are talking about another new push to help us save on prescriptions. Yeah, a big name you're going to recognize behind this one. And here's a question for you. Is the Earth round or is it flat? Well, we just met a lot of people who are convinced it is flat.
What I think is a couple hundred years from now, you can buy this as an antique.
A globe. Yeah, so they call themselves flat earthers, and we went to hear them out. A lot of interesting conversations, as you can imagine, and we have a lot to get to on this Friday afternoon. You're watching The Now.
Before we head to break, though, you can stop by the WPTV studios today. Don't come empty-handed, though. We are helping feed the hungry this holiday season with this, the final push of the Bill Brooks Food for Families food drive. We do want to get straight outside to the Now's Michael Williams. Michael, I understand we just got a big donation.
We sure did. Cool weather, warm hearts on this day as the food keeps pouring in here at 1100 Banya Boulevard. Pan around this way, our dear friends at Publix coming through once again. Two big pallets of food, 1,200 pounds of food. A big shout out to all our friends at Publix and my dear friend Nicole Maristani-Krause, an old colleague, now with public relations there, who helps make this happen. All of it part of our big community effort that's been going on all day long. Charlene Mayville, one of our lifers. How many pounds of food today so far?
Okay, so far we've given out 12,063 pounds. Every agency has received more, and we are up 3,000 from last year.
What a day, what a smile, what an effort. More coming up in just a moment.
The death toll and the number of missing people continue to climb as a result of the wildfires in California. And there's no question there are still missing and unaccounted for animals as well. The Now's Chris Welch caught up with Cesar Milan. Yeah, you may know him as the dog whisperer. He is helping in the rescues.
We're gonna say hello to the pigs.
When you hear the phrase SWAT team, this, a single mom with her son on her hip, is probably not the image that comes to your mind.
Can we come over here?
But in a way, Brittany Littleton is the leader of a SWAT team that rescues animals.
Yeah, it is kind of like that.
She started Little Love Rescue straight out of high school, taking in abused and neglected animals.
Much to my parents' distress, finding animals and bringing them home.
Anyone who gets this much joy out of feeding a few pigs would probably do a lot of things for all kinds of creatures.
Animals are my favorite part of life, I would say.
Things like driving into a fire evacuation zone when everyone else is coming out to rescue livestock. This is a photo her group took the night those pigs were rescued.
And the fire came to the top of the hill, and it was like you could feel the heat from hundreds of feet away.
They've herded sheep, goats, horses, even turtles. But where would they put them?
I don't ask questions,